Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is LolaAjisafe here, and we are reviewing, they say it's season 8, but it's season 9 of Ready to Love. Alright, this is going to be episode 2. Episode 1 could make it. I mean, I had a glimpse of it. If anything comes up while we're speaking, we'll talk about it. So as we start the new season, yes, I've been gone a minute. Life has been lifing, but I'm glad to be back here discussing this show. Hopefully they'll give us something to work with. We've seen with, as the seasons have progressed, we've had more and more issues of people just coming here to profile and show a business or a personality to jump off their careers. But let's hope that, you know, the whole premise of the show is not completely lost in this season. So what's this? This is, it's season 8, episode 2, and the title is called It's Getting Thot in Here. We know where that came from. But first and foremost, housekeeping rules, please don't forget to come in, just hit the like button. I appreciate the like buttons, I appreciate the likes, and I appreciate the likes. And then more importantly, tell me what you think, like your opinion, what you're seeing that you think I might have seen, or whether you agree, disagree, whatever it is, drop it in the comments. And if you haven't, hit the subscribe button. All right, so just coming off the last episode, the very first episode, where it was just, you know, which is always the initial episode, where we're trying to still figure out who everybody is. So I think what stood out for me first and foremost was Janelle is the young lady, pretty, you know, full-figured, that everybody seemed to be beelining to. And I thought I saw something between her and the tall gentleman with locks, Herbert. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for that. Second thing I noticed, a toxic connect, and we throw this term around, but I'm just like, I'm just looking like this is gonna be a problem. Tranquilla, I think her name is, the one who was almost kicked out last week. Or at least she was on chopping block. Let's put it, Tranquilla was on chopping block with Habibi, who was also on the chopping block, if I remember correctly. That's gonna be a toxic connect. So yeah, let's see where this goes. And then of note, you know, what's it called? The honorable mention, the erotic author. I think his name is Marvin. I'm not interested, but I'm intrigued. Like, there's stuff out there. So the beauty of this country, there's so many careers, and his is interesting. Yeah, there are erotic authors, but I think he takes it one up, like he does some stage performances. He called himself, what do you call it, dominant or something. But yeah, that's honorable mention. I keep my eyes peeled, like, who is him? Who is that person behind all the layers? Like, he's got all this, but who is he? So let's see. And then the ex-football player with the, I don't know if he's got like glimmer on his lips, but some on his lips. Like, y'all pay attention. Some on his lips. Damn, I think he's Quentin. Anyway, so those were honorable mention. Beelining straight into the episode, it was the final part where they're deciding, okay, who's going home. Yeah, already. We know how this thing works, right? So I knew that off the bat that my G was not going to be kicked off. Mr. Habibi, you know, I'm into UAE, because he brings a little chaos with him. So I kind of knew he wasn't going to be kicked off. 1, 2. Second reason why I thought he wouldn't be, I thought he would be the one that would be staying, because the other gentleman, young, I think it was like 34, 35, 4 kids, married and divorced twice. Like, I'm not going to call him a red flag, but we don't need to be dealing. That's going to be an ongoing thing that we're going to be teasing out. So they just figured they didn't want to deal with that. They're like, we're not dealing with this right now. So of course he gratefully went home. So the brunch starts. We have there was something of note that I noticed when Marvin sits down with Jessica, because like I said, I don't think most of us know what a dominant does. And he talked about whips, paddles, all sorts of things that he uses. I don't know where. I really would like him to sit in his confession and really break it down to us, but at least Jessica was polite enough to just kind of give us like a quick checklist. So yeah, she was like, no thank you. Now, what I think about her immediate reaction, I mean, you know what's good for you, you know what you like, but I personally would not have struck him off the list just like that. I probably want to know more, but Jessica says she out. Another honorable note is Marvin, again, with Unique. Unique is the TV producer. There was something there. So we're going to see there's something there. And then, of course, Unique meets up again with, who is Brother Man? The DJ. What's the name? DJ Red. So to put it lightly, so DJ Red is of note. They say he's a comedian and a DJ. And when he had met Unique, she had mentioned something about, yeah, he was in a Thot profession, I think, because he was a DJ and both a comedian. So apparently, you know, these careers where it involves traveling, she's expecting to probably sleep around and not be faithful, so she called it a Thot career. All right, so maybe that wasn't the best choice of words, or maybe it's telling somebody that you didn't know. But for someone who's a comedian that can't take a joke, I thought that was hilarious. Now that's the joke in itself. He couldn't take a joke, so he beelined back for her, knowing that he wasn't interested in her and knowing that she wasn't interested in him. He's still trying to make a beeline to throw something on the table. Like at his big age, he can't just let things be, let things lie. But once again, in real life and what's being recorded is completely different, because maybe he's just trying to have a moment on camera and figures like if he does something, it will carry through. Because remember, he's got two careers that would benefit from him being on TV. He's a DJ and he's a comedian, so that would work for him. So I don't know if he's petty by nature or if he's just petty to get more TV time. But I thought it was a little petty when he's just making reference, well, if you call my career Thot, then you're Thot. Like real childish stuff. And like, I don't know, right now he's not easy on the eyes. So what does he have to offer? He's going to work a little harder. Let's be clear and let's be real. If you're not easy in the eyes, then you have to make up in other areas. So you have to be charming. You have to be considerate. You know, charming was not what he was doing with Unique. Granted, he knows there's not a connection, but still, like he could have done better. Like he grown. Like he grown. Like, but we're going to see. Sometimes, you know, the first, you know, 2 episodes may not profile someone's personality well enough, so I'm still going to keep my reservation on him. But that first initial, this second interaction, I was not impressed with it. Neither was Unique. Like, she already winning some points, because she's like, what I'm not going to do is go back and forth with you. She picked up a cute little person, she stood up and walked away. Boom. That's how you handle them. That's how you handle them, and she handled them appropriately. So first group date of the season, of the episode, is done by, of all characters, Tranquilla. I think it was something to do with bowling, but with a twist. So looking at the, apparently unknown to us, Janelle and Habibi had some kind of interaction off camera, and so there was no love lost. There was definitely some tension. So I believe that's going to be teased, that was teased out later. But yeah, Habibi is a walking red flag. Like, he's definitely easy on the eyes, but has nothing else to offer. And for a man, that leaves him with few options, because women are more forgiving about appearances and more into what's behind it, what's into the character. So he's not going to last long, clearly, because he just is like, he's careless with his words and his behavior, and he's immature. So it's not going to carry over. Yeah. End of story. Now, there was some conversation, I don't remember who was discussing this with Habibi, about cheating, and he's like, you know, Wolfie, so yeah, I'm a cheater, he cheated because in a prior relationship, he wasn't getting all he required in the intimacy department. And so I can give him points for being honest and straightforward about his past, but I think it's his cavalier attitude that left like a sour taste in his mouth, because the cavalier attitude doesn't necessarily imply that he's learnt from it or that he won't do it again. It simply means that he's unashamed of his actions. So there's one thing being true to yourself, another thing that, okay, if a woman who's on the show saying she's looking for a partner, is she going to want to deal with someone like that? I don't think that's going to be the case. Now, did you all notice the tension between, I think it's Kyra, I think she's a realtor, and Janelle? And of all people, it's over, I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but it's over DJ Red. I'm just going to say it like that. Like, yeah, that makes no sense to me. Yeah, I don't know what I think about the season yet, but like, y'all having a little back and forth over that. Yeah. Already coming through into the second episode, I think one of the favorites in terms of the woman is Janelle. She's definitely nice looking, seems to be reasonable, have a decent personality. But you know, this is just the beginning of episode 2, but so far she looks like one of the top runners in terms of the women that they're looking at. So we'll see. I think last week I was a little surprised when, I think it was Kyra was one who was wearing white boots last week. Like, So first of all, when I saw those white boots, let's talk about Cara for a second. I saw Cara in those white boots. I'm like, sis, like, this is not prom night, not even prom. It's like, you're not about to do. I know she's like an ex cheerleader, Dallas Cowboys, wherever it was, one of that. Maybe that's why she put that edge. I was like, what is she thinking? That outfit looks horrendous. But in retrospect, I realized that that might have been a move or a ploy to be noticeable. Because who is walking around in Dallas in that heat in white knee-length boots? Yeah, they were knee-length, just above the knee, because she's little. I thought it was a horrible fashion choice, but also a choice where when the guys couldn't remember her name, they're like white boots, and everybody knew who white boots was. So almost I'm going to give her credit and say maybe she did that on purpose. That was a horrible fashion choice, but a good way so for people to take note. That I'm just going to give her that. I don't know if that's the case, but I'm going to give her that. But that was an awful fashion choice. But so yeah, so we'll see. Cara is left to see if there's more to that. Blah 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 blah. We're going to see if there's more to that, but not impressed. So moving on. So the next group date of the season is thrown by Aries. Aries, software sales manager, a little more mature. She's one of the older ladies, 43-year-old, decides to host like a little, we get together in a house. Couple of notes to note first was Sierra. Sierra's I believe she's like a stylist, 31-year-old, with the ash blonde hair, but I think that it steals color from her face, because when she wears the dark wig she looks much more attractive, but that's just my opinion. So there seems to be like a little spark between Sierra and the tall guy, Sierra and Herbert. So there seems to be a connect there. It's like nice and a little flirtatious. I don't know Herbert yet, but yeah, we'll see, because I almost say that there's a little flirtation in terms of body chemistry, but I don't know in terms whether their personalities mesh yet. So that's left to be seen. Now, going on to Aries and Quentin, I believe. There's 10 years between them. I think this is a good way to address, when women are dating men who are younger than them. And younger than them, we're talking about 10 years younger than them. Nowadays, I don't think we should use age as a limitation. And I think 10 years is still, if I'm looking, I always believe that you should do like, some may say it's too much, but in my opinion, I think plus or minus 10 is sufficient. It's doable and it's okay, but there's more that goes behind that. So yes, I do think that plus or minus 10 works, or can work, but for these following reasons. You have to look at the individual. Now Quentin, I haven't got to see who he is. He carries himself okay, somewhat, but he'll have to be a mature 33-year-old. He can't be like Habibi would not work with someone who's older than him, because there's an immaturity that's blatant. He's unapologetic about his immaturity. He's unapologetic that he has milk, stains around his mouth. But someone who is not necessarily, you don't have to act like, because even some older men don't behave or act their age. But I mean, there should be, when we talk about maturity, emotional maturity brings an understanding and a compassion that I think carries over and can bring two people from different worlds or different generations or different eras, and they can meet in the middle. But if you lack that understanding or patience, it's going to be very difficult to bring those two together. So that's what I think in terms of those two. So Quentin still has some nice carriage. I think it could work, but it's left to be seen, because I'm not sure exactly how he carries himself. Like Aries, of course, she seems mature. She seems open to it, because I think the first thing, of course, like let's be real. The very first thing in two people meeting is the physical attraction. You can say what you want till tomorrow. Even with arranged marriages, the two people meet, they say yes. I think, in my opinion, you say yes when you do see that there's physical attraction. So first of all, you've got the two of them. Physical attraction is their check. They both seem to be about something, check. So it's a decent start, because I think that's a huge topic nowadays with women, who are career women and have put family later on in life. The question is about this younger man thing, and I think it's fine. But it really depends on the individual. Is he looking for a novelty, like rah rah rah, like how, you know, or is he just looking to connect? Is he looking for a real connection? Because it's been happening from time, but I think more so now. I think there's more understanding that if you connect with the person, whether she's older than, because you know, by traditionally we've always assumed that the man should be older, and if he isn't, you know, they will forgive a year, but 10 years seems more unforgiving. But I think based on the two of them, how they connect, that's what's going to really determine. Although it looks like Quentin has his eye on the other young lady, Lee, who's also like has a sports background as a trainer. But looking at those just off the top, just looking at, you know, Quentin and Aries, is, you know, I think it could. I haven't seen anything ridiculous about him yet, other than this shimmer. And I don't know who's giving him that, but he has this funny shimmer. I'm going to throw up a picture just to tell you, like, if it carries in the picture I send, there's just that shimmer. But other than that, I don't see anything wrong in that connect right now. So I think that is the formula for when you're, as a woman, if you're going to look for someone, if you're going to meet someone and pursue a connection with someone who's younger than you, those are things you have to think about. That you're not going to be a novelty for him, and he needs to be mature, and you also have to have an openness. I always say that, yo, if we can't enjoy the same music and laugh at the same jokes, now what do we have in common? I don't think we have anything in common. But once you get through that, and let's see, I'm interested to see how this will play out, because this will be a good way to jump on this particular topic. And then Quentin, I believe it was Quentin who said that, something about the eyes don't lie, they're the windows to the soul. So he's trying to convince me that he's mature enough. Like, he heard me, he heard my thoughts. I knew I was going to think this, and decided I think that line came from him. And yeah, we heard that Quentin line before. The eyes don't lie, the windows to the soul. I think he was talking to Aries. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's true. It's true. Like, that's why people don't do the eye contact thing, because I think she's keeping eye contact. But yeah, so let's see. He gave me that line just for me to chew on and see, okay, maybe he is, you know, mature enough for her. Now, there were 2 dates prior to because this is the ladies' week. 2 dates prior to the ladies' lounge of note that I think really marks, you know, the do's and don'ts of dating. The first date between Habibi and Sierra. Now, Sierra had said, you know, maybe she had prejudged Habibi, so she was ready. I'm sure this is all production pushing this narrative here, that she was ready to give him another chance to try and peel back the layers and see if he was not as superficial as she had originally seen. So she was trying to give him a second chance. Here again, I'm telling you, like, the producers like Habibi, because something wrong with him. Tick, tick, boom, like this. So they're trying to give him a chance to see if he can, because it's the ladies' week, so they figure if he can have some more people on his side, he will stay longer. So they talk with Sierra, and Sierra's like, sure, I'll play game. I'll be game. I'll meet up with him again. And hence this is why I say it is like the don'ts of dating. It starts off with like, do you like me more than the others? I think from time, if you've watched anything I've recorded on this show, I said your concern should not be about what you feel about the other people. When you're in front of someone, it should just be about 2 of you. So right off the bat, before you even know anybody, why are you asking, comparing yourself to the other contestants? It's of no value. It's useless, and it really does show a level of insecurity, which is probably the poor guy's problem. I don't know, you go back, chase some home, family, dating things, you find out where that, but yeah, it shows right there, up front street, that he's probably rude and brash because he's insecure. And then they go joking, and then she says something about her mama. He's talking about your mama ate bleep. For a sec, like, well, yeah. So the don'ts of dating: do not assume any familiarity just off the bat. He's assuming that. 2, there should be, you know, manners. He didn't seem to come with his, you know, his best foot forward. Yeah, I think he's self-centered. And could that be because of age or other things? This is not just insecure, self-centered, because some insecure people can be more thoughtful, and you'd see their insecurities in other avenues, but he's just off the bat like a child with a water bottle, just spraying it with no self-control. It looks like he lacks self-control, but the sad thing too is, with all of those things, because he has all these things that are working against him, you don't really get to see who he is. Unfortunately, you know, he's decent looking, but you're not going to eat good looking. So yeah, that's the whole thing right there. Like, it didn't look like he sat down to get to know her based on the edit. The edit was shown on own network anyway. It looked like he was out to show her, but not get to know her. And then we go to the do's of dating, the date between Quentin and Lee. So we know they've got a little chemistry going on, that they had, linked up on the first day, had really kind of connected on the first day. And I say this is the do's of dating because I don't know what kind of scenario Lee had posed to him about, being out there. And he says he appeared confident, but not arrogant. There's a thin line. But yeah, he's like, if he had expressed something about how if she had I think something to do with her work, maybe we should do some kind of commercial or something, that he wasn't worried about how she would be if she had all this attention, because he's like, if she's mine, I'm not worried about it. She's coming home to me. Like, if she's got me, she don't need anybody else. Just the quiet confidence. So Quentin coming up like winner, ding ding ding. But please, let's not be bowled over too soon. You know how these things go. Someone impress you first 2 episodes and then start cutting up in episode 6. But so far, so good. It really came off as a cute little date. Quentin came off respectful. There was a nice, decent chemistry with them. There was a nice back and forth and understanding. They both seemed mature enough. So yeah, this was a do. This was a thumbs up. So I'm looking at Quentin now. Like, Quentin have a nice little thing with Lee, and has a nice little thing with Aries. Let's see if that continues. So the ladies' lounge starts, and they start bringing down the guys. Habibi comes up and apparently had said something disconcerting about, or made a very suggestive comment to Janelle, which was, right there. I think once Uncle Nephew Tommy heard that comment, he was like, I knew that Habibi's days were numbered. Because there's no way to explain that. Even whether the producers think you make great TV, whatever they think, the fact that he had gone that far and made that comment to Janelle, and Janelle had disclosed that on the ladies' lounge, couch, he won't go in anywhere. Ready to Love is not trying to do have repeated lawsuits. They're not trying to do that. We're not even trying to watch that. We're trying to watch light, fun, fluffy, nothing. We're not trying to have anything suggestive that could lead into something else. So when she said that, I was like, yeah, he done. Next person they brought up, and this was, who were these that were bringing up the rumors about Quentin only dating a particular race, and that was not black women. Yeah, at this point in time we have no evidence of that, and yeah, that's left to be seen. But yeah, that is dangerous ammunition, because there are no other females but women of color on the show. So if his preference is not what's on the show, then why is he on the show? Because he didn't, before you sign up, what the show is about. So that's left to be seen, if that's true or not, or if they're just speculating because he didn't have an interest in them. I believe it was Tranquilla and somebody else who said that. I can't remember who the other lady was. I don't remember the other person. So that's left to be seen. And then they decide that they want to start the season. They won't pop off. So I think they're talking about Habibi. When Janelle's talking about Habibi, about how, he was disrespectful, but of course that's Tranquilla's first choice. And Tranquilla, forget where she is. She thinks she in one of the hood. And she said, well, blah, blah, blah. The other guys are only interested in you just because of your color. I hate when we kind of go back and forth with each other about color. Because colorism is as old as time. At this point, it's like, okay, y'all. Just two things can be true at the same time. Can people have a preference for a particular shade? They can, but then it also looked like Tranquilla was coming from a place of envy or being spiteful. So she was playing down the fact that Janelle is attractive, just saying based on her shade, that's what they were into. So yeah, not a nice way to start the show. Yeah, and then all of a sudden it sparks off into Tranquilla talking about shit about that life, sis. You about that life, you want to run network, sis. You need to be on Zeus. You need to be hanging out with Jocelyn Hernandez, not with Ready to Love. Because what we don't, cuffs up, it's not that kind of show, sis. I think you might have watched an episode or two, so you forgot yourself. Zeus needs to recruit this lady because she ready to pop off for no reason. But this immature, loose cannon, she's ready to pop off, be kicked off the show for this loose cannon that ain't really into her, for real. He not, but yeah, Tranquilla has work to do, and there's more to be said about Tranquilla. I'm not sure what made her pop off like that, because she know, like I know that she knows that Habibi is not a shoe-in, but then you ready to risk it all for a nobody. And when I say nobody, that means you don't know him. That's what I mean by that. Tranquilla ready to throw it all away, risk it all for him. Makes no sense to me, but hey, you can't make this up. As they were separating them to have a break, she shouts out, talk about, if you're gonna eliminate Habibi, you better eliminate me. Guess we're gonna lose 2 people this week, because it's like that kind of behavior really is distasteful. I don't know if she ends up going into next week, but she was just doing too much. And then as she's walking away, somebody, I don't remember who it was, I can't remember, was trying to say something. She's like, you can get it too. Like, sis is forgetting what show she's filming and what network it's for. Jocelyn Hernandez, you need to come recruit this. She ready to do, like, cabaret, whatever cabaret thing that Jocelyn does, because she'll be ready to pop off in a minute. For Tranquilla, she really pretty much embarrassed her own lineage. Thankfully, so when she came back after the cool off minute, however long that cool off time was, she was rightfully so embarrassed because she was tearful. So I don't know what she's, people when they go through that, they say they're going through something, but she was embarrassed. She had the good sense to be embarrassed by her behavior. So, all hope is not lost in who she is, but maybe for this show. I don't see her going anywhere with that. I wouldn't be interested in being her friend. Someone who's just like a loose wire, a loose cannon, just like pop off. I'm not going to repeat myself, but yeah. So, I keep calling her Tranquilla. I think his name is Tequila. Yo. Let's call it Tequila. Yeah, but let's go back to her real name. I think her real name is Tequila. So Tequila having a meltdown by episode 2 tells me this is not the forum for her, because there's going to be more emotionally wrenching scenes. This is not it. So yeah, she needs to be gone, and soon, if she's not gone already by next week. Anyway, we're going into bubble dates. We already know the bottom 2 are going to be Habibi and DJ Red. Already knowing this, knowing what Habibi has done, there's no way that, so there's no way nothing but what happened was going to be what's going to happen. And of course, Habibi gets eliminated. He meets up. I think, like, once he meets up with Sierra again, that should have been a clue to him. And he already knew that they'd had the bubble dates, and the woman he already knew that they had the ladies' lounge. He knew the ladies had met. And so he sees Sierra again, because he knew what he said about Sierra, mom. So Sierra meeting up with him again definitely meant that he would go home. But his good sense didn't leave him that evening, and he had quite a graceful exit. Nice enough. We're going to the Kyra and DJ Red. So DJ Red is saved because Habibi's been misbehaving. If Habibi hadn't been cutting up, 1, he wouldn't be on a chopping block, and 2, likely it would have been DJ Red who would have gone home. See all these coincidences that save people, because I'm just looking at DJ Red like I'm not impressed. But anyway, DJ Red is here to redeem himself or convince us that he really doesn't deserve to be there. Either way. But the Kyra and DJ Red thing was boring. He was boring. They said he was boring. I completely agree. Very, very blah. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. But this is episode 2. I'm not really inspired or motivated. I do believe there are some interesting, I don't mean like just camera ready, but some interesting people on the show. It's left to see if there will be a real connection this season, because if I'm trying to think back already, it feels like so long ago, but it wasn't. I really wasn't blown away by the connects last season. Nah, they any of those people still connected? I don't remember. I'm gonna have to go back to it now, but yeah, it is what it is. So let's see, because if there are no real connects this season, then we're gonna have to be talking about something else. They're gonna have to do like something. I don't know. But here we are. We've reached the end of this review episode. Please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. I'll see you on episode 3, and we're gonna work our way to being on time. Okay? Lola, over and out.